Hi there, and welcome to the Cotswold Explorer. I'm Robin Shuckburgh, and we're exploring the wonderful region of the Cotswolds in southwest England. For the last couple of years, we've been following in the footsteps of Herbert Evans, who wrote this wonderful book, Highways and Byways in Oxford and the Cotswolds, in 1905. Today you'll find Ross, Widget, Gizmo and me in the little village of Hanwell, just outside Banbury. It's a beautiful little place with a surprising and exciting church. The other thing is, it's got the remnants of a wonderful castle. This time, actually, above ground. We're going to show you around. Come with me. For the description of this lovely village, I'm going to rely mainly on Herbert Evans, our invaluable guide around the highways and byways of Oxford and the Cotswolds, and of whose brilliant book our Cotswold Explorer edition has just recently been published, available, indeed, on the link in the description of this video. In his telling of the story of Hanwell, he is at his brilliant, gossipy best, describing the families who've lived here over the centuries with his usual learned and astute historical mind. His illustrator, Frederick Griggs, also clearly fell for the place and produced a lovely drawing of what was left of the castle. Before that, however, I want to relate a cheering tale of my own. When we arrived outside the church, we met a small group of young people who were cycling around, exploring the village. I gather they were staying the weekend with friends, and looked, to an old fellow like me anyway, as if they were in their early teens. They all had phones, of course, and they were busy filming and photographing the scenery and posting their images on the usual platforms. Needless to say, I was a perfect target for mild ridicule, and they pointed their phones in my direction with comments like, "What do you want to say to our followers?" Then one of them noticed the little black bobble on my chest and said, "Hey, are you mic'd up?" Such a 21st century question, that is. I was really much amused, and I explained we had just been in the church, filming the beautiful things inside, and they asked me if they were allowed to go in. Slightly depressing thoughts that they may have thought they weren't. Anyway, after a brief lecture from me about respect for the place, they left their bikes and gear in a pile outside and went in. Half an hour later, they'd still not reappeared, and I like to think that I've started off a whole new generation of church lovers. They will have found some excellent things to look at. A late Norman font with a wooden Jacobean cover, a modern 20th century stone pulpit, the open mechanism of the turret clock, ticking away as it has since 1671, and an amazing alabaster effigy of Sir Anthony and Lady Cope, of whom more later, as well as a selection of the Cope funereal armour. All rare and excellent pieces of interest to young boys and girls. I do hope they enjoyed themselves. And so to Evans, and part of his description of this lovely place. Hanwell lies across the valley to the west, and a bend to the right after entering the village brings us face to face with a massive tower of brick, with stone quoins and large stone mullioned windows, now blocked up. It reminds us of the almost contemporary work at Hampton Court, or of some of the college gatehouses at Cambridge. This tower is the sole surviving one of 4 which stood at each corner of the mansion, for 3 centuries the seat of the Cope family. It was built by William Cope, cofferer of the household to Henry VII, who died in 1513 and was buried at Banbury. His tomb of black marble shared the fate of that church in 1790, and after lying there for 277 years, his body was again exposed to the light, and of course immediately crumbled to dust. This was indeed an age in which the spirit of destruction ramped unchecked in this neighbourhood. Some 10 years previous to the demolition of the church of Banbury, Hanwell Castle was wantonly pulled down, and nothing left but this tower and part of the adjoining buildings. The remains are now used as a farmhouse. On the east side, sloping down to the valley, are the once well-kept terraced gardens and fish ponds. One of the latter alone is left, and the whole has a strangely pathetic, wistful air of desolation. Yet here, in Henry VIII's time, lived Sir Anthony Cope, courtier, traveller, scholar and writer. Here his grandson, another Sir Anthony, kept a hospitable house in the old English style, counting even royalty among his guests. Here the latter's son, Sir William, again entertained his sovereign, and here in the days of a third St. Anthony were hatched some of the schemes which led to the happy restoration of his late Majesty King Charles II. It's so beautifully done that it sort of covers the centuries. But what is interesting is that those fish ponds and lawns and gardens are no longer by any means desolate. They are beautifully kept, and I don't know who lives in this lovely place now, but it is quite clearly much loved. We enjoyed ourselves in this lovely little village. I think it's worth a visit. I do hope you've enjoyed our little spin round Hanwell. I'm standing here in the sunshine of an English summer, with mown lawns all around me, a beautiful medieval church, and even the remains of a glorious ancient castle. It's almost beyond belief, really. It's an extraordinarily beautiful place. We've enjoyed ourselves. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Press the subscribe button and the little bell beside it, and we will always let you know exactly what we're up to. You can find us on most of the usual platforms, and visit our website, thecotswoldexplorer.co.uk, where you'll find details of everything we've done in the past. We look forward to seeing you very soon somewhere else in the Cotswolds.